What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. If you like videos about prepping, survival, self-reliance, and other related topics, then be sure to subscribe, turn notifications on, be notified each time that I upload a new video. There's a lot of talk about Texas defying Joe Biden, Texas defying the Supreme Court, and closing the border off. However, that's actually, a false narrative. The border hasn't been closed off. The border is still actually wide open. Texas just closed part of it up with, some razor wire, some concertina wire. But the border is definitely not closed, and there's still thousands of illegals crossing every single day. They're just crossing at different points and coming through anyway. So we still have several thousand illegals coming from, Venezuela, some from Mexico, other countries in South America, China, Russia, the Middle East. Everyone and everybody seems to be coming through Mexico and then crossing into the United States. And we already have, as far as estimates goes, I think it was over 20 million here in the United States. It's probably more than that because there's a lot that they don't know about that's came across, hasn't gotten their paperwork to be sent through legally according to the Biden regime. They come through, they say they're seeking status here in the United States. They get their paperwork to get their court date, get put on a bus, and get shipped somewhere into the United States, all across the United States. So they're not considered illegal anymore. So it is in the millions. It's in the tens of millions, in my opinion. And thankfully, most of these are going to these sanctuary cities like, New York City and places. However, they're going to start spreading out even more because they're getting more and more of the illegals here. And they have, no respect for the law. They have no respect for people's property rights and things like that. They have no respect for our Constitution, for our country whatsoever, in my opinion. They might be one or two out of 1,000 that might consider it, but the majority couldn't care less about this country, the laws here, safety, freedom, or nothing like that. And that's unfortunate because it's going to cause a lot more crime to start happening. We're already seeing that in a lot of these places. I get emails from people that live right on the border, and the illegals come over and steal and vandalize and then take things back across, the border into Mexico. Happens all the time. And they're shipping these same people to these cities and things, different states and everywhere, and the crime rates are going up. And it's all, or 99% that I've saw has been military-aged males from 18 to 40 years old. I showed a video yesterday that was filmed in New York City, and they were several, looked like 5 or 6, 4 or 5, 6, whatever it was, illegals. It's hard to tell because it's everywhere going in. But they attacked 2 NYPD police officers, and they were kicking, they were stomping at the head, trying to kill those police officers. And really, I wouldn't work in New York City as a police officer at all because that's corrupt like the federal government is. However, it's woke also, and they keep having these policies, and now it's a sanctuary city where they were at, as far as I'm aware. So you can't really feel sorry, but it just shows how they feel about law enforcement, how they feel about you and I. And you see what they did to those 2 police officers, and they were armed, they had guns, they had batons, they had OC spray and things like that to defend themselves with. And these illegals know that, they saw that, but they still attacked. And they beat the living shit out of both of those police officers. And they were stomping and kicking in the head. Now, they got apprehended. They spent probably the night in jail, and I know they're already out. They got out without having to pay any bond or anything like that, just send them right out. If that would have been you or I had done the same thing, like a gang of white people had actually did something like that and was stomping those cops in the head and stuff, it'd been attempted murder of a police officer, and we would have been in prison for 15 to 25 years in federal or state prison for doing that. But these illegals, they get out, and they know by seeing that, they watch the same things we do. They watch the same YouTube we do. They see the same videos we do, the same news we do. And they keep hearing about, white man bad. It's one thing they hear. But plus they see that they can get by with pretty much anything. So look for crime to go up, property crime to go up, home invasions to go up. We already had crime here already. There's a lot of thugs that were here already of all different skin colors. But now they're shipping more in, and from what I have been told, A lot of these coming from Venezuela are criminals. They're coming right out of the prisons in Venezuela, being let out and being allowed out on condition they come to the United States to get them out of their country. They're violent criminals, they're violent thugs. They come right across the border here, and our so-called government is inviting these people in. So it's extremely important to know that violence could strike at any time. It could before, but now with more people, more criminals, more concentration of people and criminals, it's much more likely to happen. So you need to always be alert. Always practice situational awareness. Don't be standing around looking at your cell phone all the time, not paying any attention to people coming and going around you. If you're in public, have your cell phone put up in your pocket or something, in your purse. Don't be looking at that cell phone. Don't be looking off. Don't be playing games. Don't be looking at TikTok and Facebook. You want to pay attention. You want to see what's going on. And if you sense a threat, the best thing to do is to try to remove yourself from that situation. The best self-defense is a fight avoided, if possible. So if you get that gut feeling, if you see something that just isn't right, you see something that you think is going to be a threat, get up and leave. Vacate the area. Leave the situation, because you don't want to get into that unless you absolutely have to and have no other choice. But if you have to, you need to be able to defend yourself. And you have to follow the laws, of course. I have to say that here on YouTube, you have to always follow all the self-defense laws and the firearms laws, concealed carry laws and things like that. But you need to be able to defend yourself. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is with a gun. And you need to know how to use that. You need to have training, at least some training, to be able to use that effectively. And as we've saw, these people usually don't work one-on-one. When they attack, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 of these people at one time. They don't attack by themselves, they attack in groups. Know that. And keep that in mind when choosing, what firearm that you want to carry for concealed carry. Personally, I think one of the best handguns to carry for concealed carry, in my opinion, and one of the best ones to own, one of the best values, is the Glock Model 19. You also want to have, a couple of extra magazines also, because like I said, these people come in groups, and as time goes on, they're going to be better and better armed. They're going to start using guns, clubs, knives and things a lot more than they use their hands and feet. What we saw those police officers, they were using their feet and their hands to stomp and kick those cops in the head. What if they had guns? They would have used them. They don't care a bit to use them. We see this. We know this already. It's been proven. And this isn't an isolated incident. This happens quite a bit. Look at, countries in Europe, what's going on. Rape went way high in Europe because of this, because of all these illegals coming into Europe doing the same thing here. Military aged males, 18 to 40 years old. So be armed, have something to defend yourself with, preferably a handgun. If you can legally, know how to use that. Have some spare magazines to be able to reload. And the Glock Model 19 has a 15 round magazine, so 15 rounds in the magazine is pretty good. It definitely beats, having something like a 5-shot revolver for concealed carry. You get the extra magazine capacity because, like I said, they come in groups. If you can't have a handgun, or you're one of those people that couldn't use one to actually take someone's life in self-defense, to defend yourself, then the next best thing would probably be to get a larger can of OC spray and know how to use that. And you want to change it out about every year. Make sure it's up to date and fresh, because you don't want it to go bad and carrying that 6-7 years. You want to change it out every year. Take your can, throw it away, get a new one every year. It's not that expensive. And you want to get, I'll link to some description box below so you can check what I carry out also. But you don't want to take and just spray straight in the eyes with that. When you get that, you want to spray across the eyes like so, as you are getting away. So you can hold it like this, you can hold it like this, your thumb either way, but you want to spray back and forth across the eyes. And you want to be getting away, making distance when that happens. And get yourself away from that situation. Like I said, the best thing to do, if you can, is to avoid that fight, because you might lose. So if you have just OC spray, and you have a group coming, try to spray that group back and forth across the eyes as you are moving away and escaping the situation, and take off and get the hell out of there as quick as you possibly can, because you don't want to be trapped in a situation, because these people will stomp your head into the pavement. They will kill you. thugs will kill you. And these thugs, in my opinion, are extremely dangerous. We saw that in the video. It's happened before. Look what's happened in Europe, for example. You know, it's crazy that they're letting this happen, but they're doing it on purpose. So be armed, be able to defend yourself. You want to also, you know, be able to defend yourself if you have nothing. Hopefully you always have something, but you know, a lot of people want to learn martial arts, and I see a lot of people recommending things like, you know, jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is great if you are grappling in a gym, if you're in you know, mixed martial arts contest. Jiu-jitsu is great. However, jiu-jitsu, any kind of grappling, in my opinion, is not the best self-defense system to learn, because you don't want to be on the ground trying to grapple with these people. You don't want to be trying to get chokeholds on these people, because someone else will kick you in the head and knock your brains out. Several will take turns kicking you in the head and stomping your brains out into the pavement if you get down there trying to grapple. You want to stay on your feet if at all possible and get away. You don't want to be, you know, you want to have more than one. You want to do what you have to do and get away from the situation. It's the safest thing to do. And if you want to try to grapple with these people, you're going to be grappling with 3 or 4 people, possibly more. And while you're down grappling with one, the rest of his buddies are going to be stomping your brains out. Plus, you know, it's one-on-one. If you're grappling and you're using jiu-jitsu in the, you know, a cage fight, if you're using it in the gym, a lot of things you can't use that will actually be effective. Like, you know, if someone is grappling, they can't put the thumb in the eye, which is one of the first things I would do when I'm grappling. They can't grab the throat. They can't bite, you know, the jugular. They can't bite the Adam's apple. They can't bite an ear off. They can't do none of that stuff. They can't grab a hold of the testicles and rip those suckers off, try to. Because it's not allowed in jiu-jitsu matches. But in a street fight, it definitely is. So in my opinion, you know, you need to know how to grapple some, which I can. You know, I know arm bars and things like that, and triangle chokes and everything like that, ankle locks and things. However, I don't want to use that in a self-defense situation. I want to use my hands, and I want to damage that person as quickly as possible and get out of there. I made a video several years ago here on YouTube showing some of the self-defense techniques that I think are very effective and easy to learn. It's another thing, you know, if you're practicing something like, you know, Shotokan, which I studied extensively, but it's not the best for self-defense. It's not the best for self-defense. I love traditional martial arts, traditional karate and Shotokan. However, when it comes to self-defense, it's not the best thing to use. The best thing to use for self-defense is something like a palm strike under the chin, palm strike behind the ear, eye gouges and things like that, and then get out. You don't want to be trying to grapple. You don't want to be, you know, standing in traditional karate stance, doing traditional blocks, traditional punches. You want to be able to hit quick, make it count, hit under the chin, hit to the side over here, slap to the ears, and get out as quickly as possible, because your life is at stake. I'll link that video, and I made a couple of years ago, about probably 4 years ago maybe it was, where I show some of this stuff and talk about this hand-to-hand combat stuff in more detail. But you want to do stuff that's simple, quick, and effective to learn. Traditional martial arts, in my opinion, can be fun. Takes forever to get a black belt, and then it's a limited use when it comes to self-defense, especially if you don't practice all the time. And I'm getting older, so I don't practice as much as I should. I need to lose about 20 pounds. I lost it, gained it back. It happens, and it's all right here, seems like, for some reason, where it's to go to. So I need to work on that, get in better shape. And I'm talking to myself also. But always be able to defend yourself, have something, if you at all possible, to defend yourself with. You know, a handgun, a knife, OC spray, a club, a baton, whatever. Have something to defend yourself with, and know that these people come in gangs, they come in groups, and they will stomp your brains out into the pavement given a chance to. This video might be shocking to some people, but some people need to be shocked, in my opinion, for the situation that we're in now. It's getting extremely dangerous. Anyway, like I said, I'll link the other video, description box below. You can check that video out where I show some hand-to-hand combat techniques and things. And if you get a handgun, consider Glock Model 19. A few extra magazines. You also want to make sure you check, when you're carrying your extra magazines, that those come out smoothly, because you don't want those stuck. If you need those, that does happen if you get your retention system too tight. It can cause it to not come out smoothly. You have to jerk that. Same thing with your handgun. You want to practice with that, make sure it comes out smoothly, draws out smoothly, because you don't want to be trying to get that out. And you want to practice that. You can practice, drawing your handgun from the concealed carry position without having ammunition. Make sure it's unloaded. Take the magazine out, check the magazine, pull slide back, lock slide back, check the chamber visually, and then you can practice with that safely as far as your drawing and things like that goes, and even changing magazines out. Practice, get some training if you need it, and most people do. Get some training, learn how to use that, and stay vigilant, stay aware. Like I said, keep your nose out of the phone. It's one of the things I see most often is people with their nose in that phone. They'll be sitting in a bus stop or something like that with their nose in the phone. They'll be sitting in a restaurant, nose in the phone. They'll be sitting anywhere, nose in the phone, all the time. Don't do that. Put that phone up when you're in public. Look around, keep an eye on what's going on, because it could be a group of thugs coming in to beat you down, to rob you or something, or rape you or whatever. I'm sure that there was a video I watched, I forgot who it was that was talking about this, but the females that do come across with these people, most of them have been gang raped by the time they get here. So think about that. Ladies, think about that. And if you can, don't go anywhere by yourself. Have someone with you at all times, preferably both of you armed. Make sure your car doors, are always locked when you stop at the stoplights and things like that, because if you're not locked up, someone can just open the door and get in. Just use common sense and be careful, be safe, and be armed. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm going to create more matter, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.